So we went against them. When I say we, my wife was a big part of it because she's downstairs in the basement typing out those catalogs and stuff. We had a fly fishing catalog, and we went ahead to everything. But now, I had to advertise, I had to create public relation, public PR releases, I had to do my own publicity, I had to do my own photo shoots, I had to design the catalog, I had to go to events and trade shows. Fortunately, I had an uncle who had a technical ad agency. Very small, one-man shop. And all he handled was microwave and telecommunication accounts. But what he had was an art room. So every night after working at the rabbit factory, I would go up to his office and I'd sit there and learn how to do my own cut up and paste ups. I learned how to do my own mechanicals. I would write my own press releases. I wrote everything. You know what happened? All of a sudden, I was working 16 hours a day, and I was saying to myself, I can't believe it. I didn't eat lunch. I didn't eat dinner. It's 12 o'clock at night. I don't know where the day went. I was finding a career. I had passion. I loved it. And if you have passion, you will ultimately end up becoming dedicated and committed to everything you do. And that's why passion is so important. If you don't have passion, you're going to have a job.
Thou shalt enjoy competition.
Competition exists within. Others may try to bring it out, but only you alone can find this inner trait. Challenge yourself in everything you do, and respect and recognition will be earned and deserved. Glamorous or sexy type of industries, they breed a tremendous amount of competition. Now just think about it. Professional sports, professional entertainers, 1 in a million make it. But there's a lot of fierce competition. And you know what? The industries you want to go into, advertising, marketing, public relations, social media networking, video, multimedia, journalism, whatever, they're pretty glorious, believe it or not, or glamorous type of industries that everybody wants to be in. And, I thought years ago that people are generally born with this kind of competitive gene. But it's not really 100% true. There's something that could have happened in your life that turns you around to make you competitive. And you're going to need to be competitive to succeed in our industries. And I'll tell you what happened to me. It sound crazy. It was 46 years ago. I was in the 6th grade. I had this teacher. He came right out of, out of the movies, the Indiana Jones movies. 6'4", blonde crew cut. This guy looked like a Nazi. And one day, his parent-teacher conferences, and in front of me, he said to my parents, don't expect too much from him. He's really not going to amount to much. Hey, these are teachers back in the 60s trying to motivate you, right? He's not going to amount to much. That's before everybody, got the award for everybody's first place. I was so ticked off. That same week, they had a phys ed type of competition. Every 6th grader in town had to take it. Now, it may be hard to believe this now, but then I was called the skinny guinea. One of the shortest guys in the class, very thin. But in this competition, when we got in it, one of them was for sit-ups. So we started this sit-up competition, and I'm telling you, I was like a machine. Today. Couldn't stop me. I blew by all of the records ever set for the school, let alone the town. They stopped me because the late bus came and we all had to be taken home. I felt great. Man, the next day, besides my stomach hurt, I came in the next day, I was, big man on campus all of a sudden. Matter of fact, even the neo-Nazi, who insulted me that day before, he treated me differently. I realized, competition ain't so bad. Kind of makes you feel good, especially when you win. Unfortunately, even to this day, if I'm playing golf just for fun or whatever, I gotta win. But you know what? In this business, you've got to reach deep down inside you because you got to win. You're going to be going on business pitches. You got to win. Why? That's how you're going to eat. But also, that motivation to win is working on that particular type of an account. And you put everything into it. Now, I am going to say a couple things about competition and how it actually could hurt you in some ways. If you don't have moderation with it, a lot of bad things can happen. Because with a job, you turn it off. 5 o'clock, you go home, you watch Real Housewives of New Jersey or Snooki, whatever, that stuff, and you get your mind off it. You don't even think about your job. A career, you can't turn it off. You're going to go home, you're going to be eating dinner with the family, and all you're thinking about is, man, what's that headline going to be? How can we make that video work? I'm telling you, creative people cannot turn the creative mind off. I know a number of people over the years who tried to turn it off with booze or with drugs. The majority of them lost everything. Not only did they lose their careers, they lost their families. Personally, I think the best way to try to find that moderation and to turn it off is obvious. It's exercise, yoga, even prayer. But without that competitiveness, you're going to have some difficulties. So reach down, figure out, maybe something happened to you at some point in your life that you recognize all of a sudden it upset you or it motivated you, one way or the other, to make you competitive. Because that's what's going to keep you ahead of your competition.
Thou must uphold technology, innovation, and education.
Technology breeds innovation and fuels all creative industries. Never rest on your laurels and always continue your education. For this is the answer to staying ahead and maintaining a cutting edge. You folks are lucky. You know why? Look in the mirror. You're young. If you and I walk in and talk about social media, who do you think they're going to talk to? You got that right. My son's 31 years old. We pitch together. And we're in the environment, and we're talking to whoever it might be. It could even be a bunch of old gray-haired guys like me. We talk about digital marketing. They look at him. I'm not really insulted by it. I was kind of lucky because when I came up in the business, all of my accounts were either broadcast, the Sonys, Panasonics, those guys of the world, telecommunication, that's when the bells were all around, and microwave companies. Those three industries converged. And what did they give you? They gave you the internet, they gave you bandwidth, they gave you mobile apps, they gave you social media. So I understood the technology and I knew where it was going. But you folks still have the edge. The thing I'm going to say is, don't lose it. You need to continue your education. The only way you can be innovative is to understand all of the other technology and disciplines that are being born each and every day. It also will help you because you're going to work on a team. Everything you work on is going to be a team effort. And if you understand that the PR department that's working on social media networking has got to set up Facebook pages and all that, if you don't understand how that works, you won't be a good team player. So just continue the education always. You can never rest on your laurels.
obtain multi-skill sets and learn to multitask.
You will be asked to perform tasks you may not be prepared for. Do not become overwhelmed, and welcome the opportunity to reveal your multi-skill sets and multitasking capabilities. Be prepared for the inevitable and expand your interests and knowledge. The most valuable people to me and to our organization are the people that have multi-skill sets. Leo is a perfect example. Leo was classically trained as an artist, and if you saw his paintings, it'd blow you away. He actually paints in 24-karat gold. And every way you look at the image or the picture, you see something else. It's magnificent. And then Leo continued. He became a graphic artist. After graphic arts, he found that he really was interested and loved videography. So he became a videographer. He's done some great stuff. Then he went on to become an editor. Why? Because if you have the videography side and the editing side, guess what? You're going to be a great director. From that, Final Cut Pro, animation, using After Effects, but he also uses Pro Tools, so he's also an audio engineer. He's a pretty darn good musician. That guy is multi-talented. He's got multi-skill sets. Now let me see. We lose a piece of business, and we got to let, let's say, 2 graphic artists go. I'm not letting Leo go, because I can move Leo from the video room to the graphic art studio and all over the place. Invaluable. Let me give you some advice that I gave my son over 10 years ago. So I consider him to be totally invaluable also. When he got out, or he was in school, he was in college actually at the time, I put him in the media department. Why the media department? Because at the media department, you learn how to negotiate, you learn how to plan, you learn how to budget, you learn how to build a measurement matrix so everything that you're doing can be measured. From there, put him into the PR department, learn to write. Not only that, get on the phone, try to sell that client and get an editorial opportunity for him. Then on his own, he started creating his own ads and brochures and working on a Mac. After that, he went into the video room and did the same thing. Became a videographer, does editing, and guess what? He is he is my most valuable and my best account person at 31 years old. You need to do the exact same thing, because when you're in that interview and they say to you, do you know Final Cut Pro? You say no. Guess what? That little knowledge may have helped you. And if you're a graphic artist and you use Photoshop or whatever, hey, that's great. But just that little bit may give you the edge when you're trying to pursue your career. And the other thing too is, you're in a creative world. You really don't know where or what's going to turn you on the best as far as that passion. So, multi-skill sets, important, but multitasking is also important. If you're the type of person who can only work on one thing at one time, this is not probably a business for you. Because you are going to be given 10, 20 different things to work on at any given time. But you know what you're lucky about? You'll have smartphones. You all know how to use technology that way. Use that to help you. Multi-skill sets also build up your multitasking skills.
Thou must establish and maintain a meaningful network.
Social media is a fundamental component to establishing a meaningful network. Use it wisely and be smart with what you post. Maintain a professional network and defer from frivolous comments or photos that may discredit and haunt you forever. Look, you folks have heard this 1,000 times, and everybody's told you, and you're not ignorant about this. You know that whatever you put online is going to come down to haunt you. I don't know if you're aware of this, but there are a lot of companies, HR managers, that when you go in for the interview, they look you in the eye and say, "Can I have your Facebook password and all your profile information?" It's legal. Bad. Being challenged now by some courts, but it is legal right now. They can't ask you your race, your age, your sexual preference, but when they have access to your Facebook page, they've got it all. The best thing I can tell you is now, while you have time, start looking at your Facebook pages. Be careful of what you tweet. Make them professional. You know, honestly, people really care that you went and bought a new pair of shoes at Macy's or whatever. I mean, you need to start thinking professionally today. And whatever you do. And listen, when we were younger, there was no internet. There weren't people running around with a phone that could take pictures and put it up right away. So we got away with murder. We were able to drink and do anything, any place. Can't do it today. So I'm just want to give you that little bit of an insight and warning. Start to make your social networks today professional. And join and get involved with LinkedIn. Because the social networks that you establish, when you may be out of a job or whatever, they're going to help you to even get freelance work. So that you will be able to make some money. And believe me, if you use it correctly, use it professionally, it will bring you income, especially in times when you may not have that career going.
Thou shalt follow thy inner bliss.
Your bliss is the inner track that is waiting to take you on your life's journey. It is what you are meant to do and the career you will choose. Wherever you are, if you follow your bliss, you will enjoy the fruits of life, and doors of opportunity will open where and when you least expect them to. I've got to give James Campbell, he was a professor of mythology, credit for this bliss thing. And as I'm talking about the bliss, you're probably sitting there, as I would have years ago, and said, I'll tell you what will make me give me that bliss. Money. I got to get out of here and make some money because bliss is happiness. And I hear that saying, yes, but money can't buy you happiness. Well, let me tell you something. You know anybody that's broke that's really, really happy? It helps. Money does help. But it's deeper than that. You know, with me, I had a roller coaster of a ride to find my career. Right? I was a musician, I was a school teacher, I was a certified financial planner, I opened up a wholesale, rabbit factory thing, I was selling, fly fishing catalogs, I ended up working for an ad agency, opened my own PR firm, eventually, settling on founding an integrated marketing communication firm. Bliss, for me, is deeper than all of these things that I just named. It's inside you. I talked about it with the passion, but what is ultimately going to make you happy? And the thing that I have found going through all of my years here is that when I actually did find my bliss, and this will be the same for you, you're going to find that money is much greater and follows your bliss. So as you go through this journey, try to center and find really what your bliss is.
Thou shalt keep my 3P trilogy.
As you embark on your career, remember a simple 3P trilogy. Prepare, personality, and patience. Properly prepare in advance for every interview. Awaken your personality and make a connection with those you will be meeting with. And maintain the virtue of patience. Prepare, prepare, prepare. When you're going to go in for that interview, you know that the person you're sitting across from has prepared well to meet you. You need to do the same. So before you go in there, do the obvious. Look up all the websites. Look up their microsites. Friend them on Facebook. Follow if the president is tweeting. Look into the blogs. Because with all of that information, all this content that all companies are throwing out there right now, you're going to find some little nugget that you're going to be able to connect with. It may be as silly as the president of the company just played a certain golf course. You may enjoy golf. You can bring it up in the interview. It may be something like a cooking, whatever it is. See, the whole idea here is you need to make that personal connection now. Because when you sit in that interview, and that's all done, and they interviewed for 2-3 days, and they interviewed 100 people, guess what? They can't remember you. They're not going to remember, gee, you know, Sally had a really great resume. You know what they're going to remember? Hey, you know, Sally liked to cook. She did this culinary class, you know. It's human nature. Human nature. Your personality is very, very important. It's going to show that you've got interpersonal skill sets too, which are critical in this business. Not just to sell, not just to handle clients, but to work as a team member. And then patience. I didn't learn it until very, very late in my career. And you're young. We're in a world right now of instant gratification. You want an answer to something? Pull out your smartphone. But patience is critical. It is a virtue. Let's think about everything that I just talked about. I'll try to sum it up really quickly. Know yourself. To know yourself, you need to prepare that SWOT analysis. You're going to brand yourself, and you're going to come up with your USP when you go into your interview. Don't fear failure. It's a ridiculous thought. And really, it's not too bad being too stupid to know you can't fail. Change. Change is inevitable. It's going to happen. You're going to like some of the changes. You're going to dislike more. You're going to have no control over some of the changes. But you got to have the courage to make the change when you think it's right. Competition. Man, we're in a competitive world. Dig deep down in you to find that competition. As far as technology, you've got the cutting edge. You guys are on it. Stick with it. Maintain it always. So when you're 30, you're 35, you're 35, 40 years old, the rest of the young people are going to pass you up. Multi-skill sets, multitasking. Learn more. Be a sponge. If you think you want to be an editor, video editor, because you love it, learn animation. You'll be that much more valuable. Your social network. Social network is critical. Use it wisely. Because with your social network, these are the people that are going to be your peers, people you're going to collaborate with for the rest of your life. That inner bliss, you're going to have a great journey. You want to enjoy that. But to really enjoy it, find it within. Maybe you're lucky and you think you know what that inner bliss already is. More than likely, as you start out here, it may change. Don't be surprised by that. And the 3 P's. Prepare, prepare, prepare. Personality, personality, personality. And patience. patience because the entire world awaits you. Thank you and enjoy the journey.